concerned. My age is probably too late for life insurance.
Dad, the Millers are older than you, and they've just been insured by Norwich Union.
Really? With my high blood pressure, I'm sure to be rejected. You must have to take a medical.
No, you don't. The Guaranteed Life Insurance Plan is designed especially for people over 50. Even if you were 75, you'd still be insured without a medical.
Well, it would be reassuring to leave some money. Let me take the number down. Guaranteed Life Insurance Plan from Norwich Union.
At Norwich Union, we know it's important to be insured for life. To leave money to those you love. Our Guaranteed Life Insurance Plan gives you affordable, worry-free coverage for life. With no medical exam or health questions asked. If you're between 50 and 75, you're automatically approved for coverage. It's guaranteed in your personal enrollment kit. Choose the coverage you want, up to $25,000, depending on your age. In the event of accidental death, your benefit triples, up to $75,000. Your insurance costs as little as $20 a month, and your premiums will never increase. You can name any beneficiary, your spouse, children, or someone else you care about. Just call this toll-free number for your free personal enrollment kit, which answers any questions you may have in easy-to-understand terms. And keep in mind, you're under no obligation to enroll, and no salesperson will call. If you're between 50 and 75, your acceptance is guaranteed without a medical exam or health questionnaire.
Just call 1-800-263-9899. An operator is standing by to take your call now. That's 1-800-263-9899. Ask for operator 32.
In rural England, the common was once land that was kept free of fences, belonging to the entire community and used for its common good. Today, 9 miles of fences divide this United States Air Force base from the women and children they claim to defend and protect. The land is now home to 32 nuclear missiles. International symbol, inspiration to people around the world. They are defenders of the vision that peace is not just an absence of war. Among these women who've been part of an ongoing presence is Helen John, a midwife from Wales, mother of 5.
When we got here, we trained ourselves to fence before we trained to fence. And that was to sort of link in with the suffragette movement and also to gain some publicity, because we had managed to do that on the 10-day march.
You mean you had marched for 10 days and the press had ignored it?
Well, yes, because at that time, because they didn't understand exactly how powerful women can be when they've made up their minds, the press tend to ignore the whole issue, and they kept asking us about solicitors and how we were coping, how our families were coping, and they wouldn't listen to the fact that we were posing nuclear weapons. And when we got here to this stage, we were determined that we would be heard and we would be listened to, and that has happened.
How would you characterize that group of women? Were they peace activists? Were they people who were fight against?
Deeply concerned women who couldn't any longer expect politicians or leaders of groups to do things for them and have decided to do something for themselves. And, that awareness has grown, the strength of feeling has grown, and practically every single woman who's on that original group is still extraordinarily active.
And how much that decision made what started as a march became a permanent presence?
It was one of those sort of snap decisions because the commander of the base chose to ignore even the fact couldn't see any significance in that, and he said that as far as he was concerned we could say as long as we like, so we took him at his word and he was still here.
Women have a long history of protest against war and a strong dedication to peace. Women don't usually wage wars, but pay the wages of war. We once had to struggle up to the vote. The struggle now is to bring our concerns for peace and justice to influence national and international decisions.
Congresswoman Ferraro, you have no experience in military matters, and yet you might someday find yourself Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. How can you convince the American people and a potential enemy that you would know what to do to protect this nation's security? And do you think in any way that the Soviets might be tempted to try to take advantage of you simply because you are a woman?
Are you saying that I would have to have fought in the war in order to love peace?
I'm not saying that. I'm asking you. You know what I asked.
All right. I think what happens is when you try to equate whether or not I've had military experience, that's the natural conclusion. It's about as valid as saying that you would have to be black in order to despise racism, that you have to be female in order to be terribly offended by sexism. That's just not so.
Women everywhere are taking the lead in speaking and acting for differences. Dr. Ursula Franklin, a physicist and professor of engineering at the University of Toronto, refuses to apply her expertise to military-related projects.
I consider militarism really a symptom of a much larger form of social organization that essentially signifies to me the threat system. Militarism in the most practical terms, when you forget about the hardware, is a way of saying do what I say or else. And to me the essence of feminism and women's experience is an experience that integrates diversity and not an experience that bullies, knowing that bullying doesn't get you anywhere, but an experience that tries to enhance cooperation and respect differences. Yes.
In 1960, Ursula helped found the Canadian peace organization, The Voice of Women. They coordinated a campaign which asked women to send Ursula their children's baby teeth to measure the levels of strontium-90, a waste product of nuclear explosions. Their efforts contributed to the 1963 international treaty which attempted to ban all atmospheric testing of nuclear weapons.
But I think there's a long road ahead for us to re-establish the dream of justice and peace. And so the people in the peace movement who have a sense of urgency know that it is the urgency to get time But from there on, it's a lifetime commitment. If you remember 18 months to say, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. And it's neither painless, nor is it cheap, nor is it far. But it's the only thing.
In Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Norwich is dedicated to life, developing mutual understanding and cooperation.
The more decision-making is made around our dining room tables, in our kitchens, or in our town council, the better it is. But that's what most decision-making should be made. It only, my conviction is that only decisions should be released from the bottom up and not be controlled. I guess to try to change to that position. I'm sure it's possible.
To prove that it is, Muriel urges Halifax City Hall to support local